Autism is a childhood disorder. The onset of the disorder is before the age of 3. That doesn't mean it has to occur, that the diagnosis has to occur before the age of 3, but the onset of the disorder is. There's 3 features that constitute autistic disorder. One feature being a language deficit, a second a social deficit, and the third is the presence of self-stimulation.
I did know that something was wrong. She pointed out all of the things that were not developing normally. She gave me basically a checklist of the things that weren't happening right. And at the time, there was a behavior therapist on the premises. She was working with another child as a shadow, helping him to facilitate him in the preschool. And she had noticed Sam as well. And apparently, the behavior therapist and the teacher had been observing him for quite some time before they came to me to let me know of their suspicions. And they confided to me that through their preliminary observations that he was classically autistic. He fit the profile.
You know, within the first year to realize that our son had severe autism, not only autism, but he was a very severely affected little boy. And the therapies have helped him tremendously, but we wanted more. We wanted him to have a chance at having the kind of life that we've had.
Of course, you start meeting other parents of autistic children. Unfortunately, there's a lot of autistic children around these days, but back when Claire and I got the news about our son, people still talked about this incidence as being something like 1 or 2 in 10,000. It didn't take us long to realize that couldn't be. We had two immediate friends who had autistic children.
For half of the kids, we know exactly what we're doing and we can carry out discrete trials. But for the other half of the kids, how to go about developing a treatment for them that's effective, I think we would have to go in and look at the neurological deviations that blocks their learning.
She might be able to look at a word and know it's a tree, but if you'd go outside and see an actual tree, she might not connect that. So the connections weren't being made in some way.
Applied behavior analysis is, again, the methodology that we utilize. Applied behavior analysis has really, there's myths around it, and that's kind of interesting, in that it's often seen as only approach for young autistic children. Sometimes you hear it's an approach that's just for lower functioning autistic children. That's not, it's certainly good for all children with autism, young autistic children, children that are lower function, but applied behavior analysis is a methodology that's used for everybody.
It's like building a person where there wasn't much before. So you start with, say, some early language, teach the kid to imitate, teach the children to talk, to play with toys and play with peers, and so it's a stepwise sort of treatment program.
Probably like a lot of husbands, if it wasn't for my wife, I'd still be wondering what was wrong with my son, not acknowledging and recognizing the seriousness of his issues and his autism.
My first entry into the biomedicine of it was in Bernie Rimland's work with vitamin B6. Well, if kids get better with vitamin B6, which we know is a very vital element in all the mechanisms that go on in the brain and elsewhere in the body, what is the biochemistry that we're dealing with here? He also advocated dimethylglycine, which is DMG, and noted that some kids would start talking shortly after they would take this. Not all of them, but enough to get the idea, there's something going on here in the brain, chemically, that needs to be looked into.
And we could see it was going to take medical research, scientific research. It was going to take getting the scientific community to very, very seriously delve into this and figure it out, and how to begin, where to start. That was hard. We started a foundation. That was our response.
Autism is a severe, lifelong neurological disorder that usually strikes in the first 2 years of life. Half of all autistic children never learn to speak. Today, autism is a national crisis, affecting nearly 500,000 families. More common than Down syndrome, MS, or cystic fibrosis. Yet autism receives less than 5% of the funding of the other diseases. We can't wait till someone else decides to help these children. We need to cure autism now.
It's a collaborative effort. No one person is going to solve this by himself.
The word autism saturates the media, and yet it remains an enigmatic disorder.
Red tape. And,
Researchers, therapists, and autism grassroots organizations across America and internationally have enlightened the medical community and created public awareness. Currently, the diagnosis of autism is the beginning of an arduous and frustrating journey. Parents begin the process of finding appropriate medical, educational, and behavioral care. The vigilance of parents working with their children, along with the implementation of proper diet, can significantly reinforce behavior therapy.
Sometimes these planes be separated, sometimes in the ground.
The tireless efforts of researchers, doctors, and therapists are creating milestones along the lengthy path toward a cure. In spite of the advances in research and therapy, a diagnosis of autism can create a sense of denial and helplessness.
and you said it would take 30 days, and it's now been in excess of 75 days.
The world of autism has no borders, no timetable, nor social demographic boundaries. It is multinational and as diverse in its degrees of severity as are the millions who suffer from it. Across the world, organizations and unique communities are serving those in need. We need to understand that all children with autism grow up.
Patrick Cooper, Nick Briones, and Kelly McEwen. Thank you.
It is possible to dramatically increase the quality of life for these children with early intervention and access to appropriate services. Every day we are getting closer to answering some of the questions about the world of autism. Open your heart, open your mind.
Cause you're my everything, to my wrong and to right. But every thought, first thing in the morning, last thing when I turn up the light. Everything, oh, I guess that is true. As true as the sky is blue, the only one is you. Yeah. I need you, honey, baby, 7 days a week. We can lay back, I'll take a stroll, and I love to watch you sleep. If you ever went away, I'd get really cold inside. That's what I really love about your company. You're my everything.